So this Saturday, one of the best boxing codes of all time. Oh no, let me not even say that. This is the best boxing code of all time. There's no doubt about it. The last Crescendo part 2, you know what I'm saying? Beterbiev versus Bivol 2. That was a pretty bad accident, I'm not gonna lie, but this Saturday, one of the best boxing cards of all time. Beterbiev versus Bivol 2, the last Crescendo. There's so many good fights on this card. Every single one of these bouts on this card can be a main event affair. There's no doubt about it. But let's get right into the predictions. So the first fight on the card is Buatsi versus Smith. This is at 175, a light heavyweight bout. Honestly, right now, I don't really know what to think of Colin Smith. I definitely think he's at the tail end of his career. He was a very good fighter. He still is a good fighter. I don't think he's elite anymore, but Beterbiev basically just ran through him. I thought he would actually do better in the fight. I actually picked Colin Smith in the fight to knock out Beterbiev, but that wasn't the case. Beterbiev actually showed great boxing ability, and like I said, he ran through him. Buatsi has had a weird career as well. Like, he's made some questionable moves, but now it's looking like it's going forward very well. I do think he should win this fight. He's a very good boxer. He performed well in his Hutchinson fight. Although I did think at times in the pocket he was getting hit a little too much, and he did take shots, and there was points where he was kind of like freezing up in the pocket. So I think if, he's in close quarters and Smith lands that left hook, it will be trouble. But besides that, he should win the fight quite comfortably. Colin Smith is very slow. I think Buatsi could beat him to the punch. And I also think if he invests to the body early, he could possibly get a stoppage late. But a decision is probably very safe to pick, so I'm going to go decision. So the next bout up on the card is Zhilei Zhang versus Caballero. So Caballero is a very underrated heavyweight. I do think in the Frank Sanchez fight, he did perform well, don't get me wrong, but Frank Sanchez has knee problems, and I just don't think he's, physically fit to be a boxer anymore. I think his body's breaking down, but he did show great tactics. He's also, in my opinion, a very, smart fighter in there. He invests to the body. He goes up top to the head. He mixes his weapons very well. And he also holds something that I think is going to be a big factor over Zhilei Zhang, and that's cardio. Zhilei Zhang slows down very fast. Power's the last thing to go, so if he lands on anyone, he'll put you out, right? And I do think him being a southpaw, it's open stance fight. There's possibility that he can land a straight left. I think Caballero's a little too quick for him. He's not the quickest guy, but when it comes to Zhang, I think most people are faster than him. I think the activity is going to be a problem. I think the pace is going to be a problem. I think it's all just going to catch up to Zhilei Zhang later in the fight. And I see Caballero winning this by a 9th to 10th round stoppage, maybe 11th, but I think it's going to be very late via body shots. I hope Zhang could win this fight, honestly, but I don't think he's going to win this. I think he's too old, man. So the next bout up on this card is Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. So I'm from Texas. I'm a big Ortiz Jr. fan. I want him to win, man. I gotta be unbiased though. Madrimov is a good fucking boxer. Like, he's a very good boxer. I actually think he's elite. His footwork is amazing. He has good angles. He's very, very elusive. He has respectable power, and he can switch stances. He can do everything in that ring, honestly. He's a very athletic fighter. So when this comes to the mid-range and, the long ranges, I think Madrimov is absolutely going to cook Ortiz. But in the close quarters, I do favor Ortiz, of course. His body shots are very, very nasty. He's a very big puncher as well. We have to see him more with the elite at 154, though, because, Bohachuk was able to endure his power. Granted, Bohachuk does have a good chin, so maybe that's just Bohachuk, but I do think Vergil can hurt Madrimov, but I believe it's going to come from a body shot. I don't see him really hurting Madrimov, up top. And the reason I say that is because, Madrimov, like I said, is very elusive. So it's going to be hard for Vergil to, sit down on headshots. And I don't think they're going to land the way he wants them to land with the, correct placement. So any damaging work I really see coming to the body. Vergil's going to have to make this a very, very ugly-ass fight. If he stays at range, he's going to get cooked, like I said. This is kind of a hard one because I could see Vergil making it ugly, landing to the body, ripping up top, just putting a lot of pressure on Madrimov. But I just think Madrimov is fucking good, man. Like, I got to be unbiased, and I think Madrimov takes this fight via decision. I think this is going to be an 8-4 kind of fight. I could see a shaky moment for Madrimov, later on in the bout, but I think Madrimov's going to take it, honestly. I really hope he wins. But so the next fight up on the card is Carlos Adames versus Shiraz. I'm just going to be honest. Adames is a very good fighter. I will say that I think, his power is a little overrated. He definitely could punch, but he's not like some nuclear puncher. Shiraz, on the other hand, I think, his body frame, if you notice, a lot of guys that are, skinny and lanky are the guys that have power as well. They're very snappy, and the punches come from, like, different angles. So I do think Shiraz is actually more powerful than him. I think Shiraz is a better boxer as well. He's had some shaky bouts in the early part of his career, but I think now he's just at a new level. I think at long range, he's going to beat Adames 100%. His jab, his straights. At close range, that's where it's going to get dicey. I could see like check hooks and body shots landing on Shiraz when he's against the ropes. But other than that, I see good moments from Adames, maybe like in the mid rounds. But I think Shiraz is going to win this fight comfortably. I will say I don't think he stops him, though. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision, a 9-3 kind of fight, maybe even 10-2. And I think the rounds are going to be competitive. Don't get me wrong when I say that. Like, I don't think it's going to be a shutout. But I do think Shiraz is going to clearly win most of the rounds. So the next bout up on the card is Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. I'm actually very excited for this fight. I don't even know why, honestly. Like, I guess it's because Schofield, he's kind of a wild card. You don't really know what's going to happen with the guy. I think he's like the equivalent of Sean Porter, honestly. That's pretty much his style. Maybe he's a little more athletic than Sean Porter, but I don't think he's a big puncher, honestly. I don't think he's a big puncher at all. He's very active, though. I think he could put a pace on Shakur. But Shakur is very elusive. Great boxer. I don't even have to say how good he is. He's a good boxer, right? He has a good jab, southpaw. The only thing that's kind of worrying me about this whole thing is Shakur's hands. I've been seeing pictures of his hands, and they do look pretty bad. I know it's like post-operation scars and stuff like that, but like, what if he hurts his hand and he can't use his jab anymore, and Schofield starts putting it on him, just a lot of volume and kind of breaking Shakur down, and Shakur can't really stop it. You never know. Stuff like that can happen. But I think, Schofield is very unexperienced. He lunges in a lot, like he blitzes forward, and I could see Shakur honestly maybe landing a knockdown or two, a flash knockdown from a straight left hand. I don't think he will stop Schofield. I really don't see that, especially with his hands. Even if he wants to start digging to the body, investing to stopping Schofield, I don't think he really can, honestly. But yeah, I just see Shakur just being too experienced and just too good overall. But I think this will be a good learning experience for Schofield. But I do think he'll have a few good rounds and enough to take some stock from this, gain a little fan base, I will say, right? So we're down to the last two fights on the card. The next fight on the card is Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. And honestly, Daniel Dubois, I think the guy's a beast. He's a monster. What he did to Anthony Joshua, I actually picked him in that bout, but that was more just because I wanted him to win. I was kind of surprised at what he did. Not saying that he was on that level, but I was just like, the way he did it was insane. He kind of dominated Joshua and then knocked him out. So that just shows the level that he's at right now. I do think for the last, prior 2 years, he's had some knee injuries that were kind of worrying, and he had some weird fights, weird performances, right? But it does look like maybe his knee has gotten better. He's been performing well. The only negatives I have for Daniel Dubois is, he's very slow, and that's something he can't really change. Sometimes he can be plotty, but he does have a great jab. He has a very underrated, I think he has one of the best jabs in boxing. Very strong, stiff jab, a step-in jab. He's very powerful. He has nuclear power. He's not the most explosive guy, I will say, like, fast twitch, but when he lands, he's going to hurt you no matter what. And honestly, his footwork is not that bad, especially in the Joshua bout. Sometimes he's light on his feet, and, he could move around, bounce around, and show, that he's actually elusive at times, but he's still slow. No, I'm just kidding. And then Joseph Parker, on the other hand, he's a very active fighter. He has respectable power, decent jab. I don't really know what to make of Joseph Parker because he has a lot of weird performances, but he is a very experienced, good veteran. Joseph Parker's cardio is okay. I do think that Dubois actually has better cardio. Dubois could go for 12 rounds, no problem. I feel like he actually builds into the fights better. Honestly, Dubois should win this fight, but it seems like he's looking past Parker, so that's what's kind of worrying to me. I could see, Parker pulling out a decision, a close split decision. It's possible, just from activity and landing the more cleaner, visible shots. But realistically, Dubois should win this fight. I think he'll actually win by unanimous decision with 2 knockdowns late in the fight. I don't think he's going to stop Parker. I'll be very impressed if he does, but I think Parker is tough enough and, savvy to survive the 12 rounds. So for the final fight on the card, Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitrybivol Part 2. Man, this fight's going to be absolutely insane. I don't really know what to make of it because, it's so hard to not, bring up the age of Beterbiev. He's already 40 years of age. The guy's an old man, right? He doesn't look old in the ring. He looks very great, right? But it's like, can he just age overnight? Can he have a bad camp and then that's it? Shout out to my guy, EV Boxing. He told me the other day, you got to ignore the age. So what I'm going to do is ignore the age. So for me, I think Bivol fought a very good fight in the first fight. And I think he won the fight. So, there's little things he could, improve on, which is, I think he could have a little more volume than he had, like in the mid to late rounds. But also at the same time, I feel like he started, a little too fast. I think he could, slow down in the first 4 rounds and then pick it up from there for the last 8. But yeah, I think the volume, the activity, and, putting a stamp on the rounds. He has to put a stamp on some of these rounds. I don't think he's going to be able to jab and, work off the back foot for most of the fight and win. I think there's going to be a lot of times where he's going to have to put Beterbiev on the back foot. He has to be on the front foot and be, very authoritative and the ring general. And another thing as well, he took Beterbiev's shots very well, so I hope he doesn't get overconfident and try to play too much in the pocket because Beterbiev's straight right and his check hook, I think he could put anyone out. So I think there's still a lot of dangers, of course, is Beterbiev. But Bivol, I thought he just won the fight last time, so I think he needs to pick up off that performance and add more volume. But for Beterbiev has to invest to the body earlier. He started, throwing body shots very late in the fight. I think he started too late with that idea. I do think if he invests to the body early, there's possibility that he can start getting to Bivol. I feel like in the first fight, he wanted to counterpunch too much. That's not going to win him the fight. He got the decision, but I think you're never going to win a fight versus Bivol trying to be the counterpuncher. You have to, be on the front foot. You have to start putting volume on him. You have to start working body shots. And I think Beterbiev can do all of that. Also, another thing, though, Beterbiev is a very underrated boxer, and he's very intelligent in there. When he's on the front foot pressure, he has to be very educated with it, though, because I do think there was times where he would keep his head on the center line, and then he would try to trade with Bivol. I know Bivol is not the biggest puncher. He's not, honestly. But at the same time, sharp punches can hurt you as well. And there was times where he was on the front foot where Bivol would land, and I'm like, God damn, if that landed maybe with different placement, he could have, put Beterbiev down momentarily. A flash knockdown. He has to avoid things like that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is he shouldn't be, super desperate. Pick his moments, pick his shots. Be the Beterbiev that we're used to seeing. I know he's had a lot of camps where he gets injured or, gets hurt somehow. So that's another thing that's playing in my mind. But I'm just expecting, the same Beterbiev that we saw last time. So this is a hard fight, man. I think if anyone has more to improve on in the next fight, I actually think it's Beterbiev. I just feel like Bivol is so good. My prediction in the first fight was 8-4 Bivol, with Bivol scoring 1 knockdown. Now I'm kind of thinking, I don't know. I think Beterbiev might be able to get to him, man. I know last time he couldn't, but, if they take their errors from the last fight and start investing to the body, I just think that's going to be a big pivot in the fight. I think that's going to be a big change if he's able to land those body shots early, right? Like I said, I can't be biased. I want Bivol to win so bad, but honestly, I'm going to go Beterbiev by a 9th round body shot stoppage. I think he's going to get to Bivol, and I think he's going to stop him. He's going to solidify himself as the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. And even though, I want Bivol to win, I feel like Beterbiev versus Benavidez is a banger. I feel like Beterbiev matching up with these new guys is more entertaining than it would be, with the Bivol. But this card's amazing nevertheless. I hope the fights are absolutely great. Let me know in the comments y'all's opinions. Let me know y'all's predictions. Let me know what y'all think. And let's watch the fight Saturday. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.
I don't know. 38 are you now? 38?
38.
You?
Me?
Yeah.
28.
28. You're 28. You've got another 10 years to go in your career. Maybe 12, maybe 15.